presenters, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I am on my cell phone because I have another meeting at 7:30 and I'm in that venue now. So Rosie is going to help me if there are hands raised or anything because I can't see all that on my cell phone. I'm just doing this on my cell phone. But I want to welcome everyone. I believe that the flyer for this said until 7:30. You know, I like to have my meetings from 6 to 7, so we should not run to 7:30. My next meeting is at 7:30, so I will be running at 7:30, but you all won't. But the beginning of this, we're going to have, it is going to be in two parts. First, we are going to have property assessor Ms. Vivian Wilhoit, who is going to give you some very important information. Then the second part of it is Sean Henry, who is, somebody is not muted because I can hear them talking. John Henry, who has presented to us before, but has taken back to heart some of the changes that you all offered and is going to present that to us. I have not looked over that, so I don't know which changes he has made, but he asked if he could show those to you all. So that is what we're going to do today. And so I want, as always, to say thank you to my right hand, Ms. Rosie. She is in the background helping us with all the equipment. And I now would like to turn it over and say thank you so very much to the property assessor for coming on and giving us some information. So Ms. Wilhoit, it is your show now. Thank you so very much.
No, Council Lady, it's always your show. And I just attend to do my part to put on a segment of the show. So the show is all yours, and I'm just glad and happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Hello, I am Vivian Wilhoit, Property Assessor of Nashville, Davidson County. I see some familiar faces at your community meeting. They may have joined me at other meetings in regards to the, hey there, Larry, yes, absolutely. Regarding the reappraisal and reappraisal 2021, the information that we have provided to the citizens of Davidson County, property owners of Davidson County. We're going to get right into it. As you know, this is a very critical year. Uh-oh, where is it? It's a very critical year. I see share screen, but I don't see my presentation. Just one moment.
Is it?
That's not it. Bear with me one second. I think I closed my presentation. Hold on. There it is. Now, I'll go back here. How to open that up right there. How do I get back to my other screen? There we are. Perfect.
Click on it.
I'm clicking on it.
I minimize this for a minute.
There?
Yeah.
She's there. It should be maximized. What happened? What happened to something I've done wrong? I'm sorry. I've clicked something incorrect here. I cannot get you guys back. I can see it.
We're waiting. I'm sure you'll figure it out in a minute. We're good.
Ah, that's it. Okay, perfect. Now, here we are. So this is a critical year, as you know. This is the reappraisal. And in this year, we are, this is where we're going to be establishing the new values. What happened there? What happened there?
Is something else clear?
Yeah, it's like something else is. Minimize that. Now, we're in there. Share. And. Hold on. Let me drive right here. It's open. There. Now, can you see the screen? Good. I think you can. I show. Okay, so we are in the reappraisal, And what's going on here? Okay. It looks like somebody is trying to take over inside my computer. I don't know what's going on. We've done this 1,000 times. So yes, this is appraisal 2021. And it's very important that everybody understand that this is a critical year in reference to your new value that's being provided to you. Just getting right to it. We just want to be fair. We don't set the menu, and we just want to provide you with a real value, a true value in reference to the reappraisal and just being fair in what we provide you as your value. A lot of people ask the questions, why do we reappraise? Well, first of all, we're obligated by law. It is under the state's laws, and we're governed by the State Board of Equalization, that we are required to reappraise every 4, 5, or 6 years. Nashville, we chose, or Davidson County, we chose to reappraise every 4 years. Last reappraisal was in 2017. The next reappraisal will be in 2025. And so this is something that we have decided to do, while other counties may do it every 5 years, other counties may do it every 6 years. When you do one reappraisal, you have to start right away in reference to starting on your next one. So when the 2017 reappraisal was completed, we had to start immediately on the next one because it takes us 3 years to look at all 264,000 parcels, or all the parcels in Davidson County, making visual inspections on each one of them. In the 4th year, that is when we establish our value models and calibrate the values. Why else do we reappraise? Well, this is so very true. Uniformly, values do not change across the county, and it is important that we must restore equity and value. When a reappraisal is not conducted, it is possible that definitely possible that someone in the coal market or the depressed market could be paying more than their fair share. How do we reappraise? That is a very good question, and our answer is that we are governed by state laws. There are sales data that we must analyze, such as sales data from the various 850 neighborhoods that we look at in reference to what is occurring around all of what is occurring in the economy, what is occurring in that community. We also use the 3 approaches to values, just like a fee appraisal. We use the cost approach, the income approach, and the market approach. And we also must comply with some rules and standards, those that are established by the Uniform Standard of Professional Appraisal Practice. And as I stated before, the state laws that are under the State Board of Equalization guidelines. All of our values that we provide you with, once we go through the process of the reappraisal and all of that, those values must be established as of 1/1 of this year. So even when you think about the fact that the Metro Council just approved the budget, and out of that budget, we have the 2 new tax rates, those tax rates are as of 1/1 of this year. This is a very good example of helping people understand why we are not the tax assessor and that we are the property assessor. In our state constitution that establishes the ad valorem tax system, we have the 2 functions that are separated and described distinctly in reference to its function. For the assessment function, that's assigned to this office, where we identify, list, appraise, classify all taxable property to achieve equity and value. And we must prepare that annual assessment roll. When we get that assessment, when we are finished with the assessment roll, we provide it to the county trustee for her to prepare, and that person is Trustee Erica Gilmore, for her to just hold until the tax rate is set, so that the tax rate will be applied to our assessment roll. But the tax rate comes from the taxation side function. Over to your left, my right. That taxation function is assigned to the county and city legislative body. The county, which meaning the county mayor, and the city legislative body, which means the Metro Council. It is when the mayor presents his budget to the legislative body, and this is what the exercise that the Metro Council just went through, looking to ensure that what is being provided to them is what the items they want to pay for in the city's budget, or the new projects that they want to pursue. All of that is in the mayor's annual budget. Once it is decided that the tax rate is the amount that is needed in order to get revenue from all property owners, they decide that tax rate, set it, and send it over to the trustee's office, who applies it to the annual assessment roll, where she will then send out tax bills and collect the taxes. So the real deal is, we're not the property assessors. We're not the tax assessor, we're the property assessor. And we do not taxate, we valuate, if there's such a word. But it is there, it lays out that we definitely identify, list, classify all taxable property to achieve fairness and equity in values, and to prepare the annual assessment roll in a timely manner. Here you have some classifications of properties and the various number of properties in those classifications. Quite a bit, you can agree. Some think that what we do is raising money for the city. No, we're not. The reason why the reappraisal is not designed to raise revenue is because it's not intended to do that. It's intended to reestablish equity. New revenue comes from the new construction. So in a reappraisal year, what comes out of it first is a certified tax rate that is basically decided upon by the state of Tennessee, and looked at by the mayor and also this office, but decided by the state of Tennessee to make sure that it is put in place to prevent local government from realizing a windfall in added revenue on existing construction. So basically, a certified tax rate is devised, it comes out of a reappraisal that is a revenue neutral tax rate, to make sure that the reappraisal does not generate windfall of revenue for the city. That's the law. So in a reappraisal year, always remember, the tax rate will be adjusted to produce the same amount of revenue as we received in the previous year. So that certified tax rate initially that was announced by the mayor, he had decided that he wanted to make it the tax rate, which is now has passed the Metro Council. This is an excellent example of how the certified tax rate affects affects values when it comes to a reappraisal year. Randy Ward, he is my amazing staffer who is now going to be the Deputy Chief of Operations, is here to kind of go through this example in reference to the CTR and its effects in a reappraisal year. Here's Randy.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? As Assessor Wilhoit said, this is just an example. And in this example, we are using the 4.221 2020 tax rate. But the CTR we're using in the example is just that. It's an example number. We did this 6 months ago so that we had examples for everything. In the example as well, there's a 35% median increase that we're using, and those two things are very important to the equation. So on these values for each one of these homes, a green, blue, and red home are all valued at $250,000 in 2017 through 2020. It's important to note that the value that you receive in a reappraisal year remains the same for 4 years unless you change something to the property or there's damage to the property. That's the only time it's going to change. Otherwise, this 250 stays the same from 17 to 2020. Again, in the example, 250,000 on each one of them. Based on the 4.221 tax rate in 2020, they each paid $2,638. In 2021, the homes were reappraised. The greenhouse went up 20% to 300. The blue house went up 35%, or the median average in the county, to 337.5. The red home went up 50% to 375,000. You can see here that with the certified tax rate that was put into place, the one that went up 20% paid only $23.45 for the 2021 year in the example, or $293 less. The one that went up the median average of 35% paid the same exact amount that it paid in 2020. And the red home that went up 50% paid a little more, $293 more, because it went up 50% when the median average was 35%. You come down to the bottom here and you'll see that $7,914 was collected in 2021 with the new certified tax rate. $7,914 was collected in 2020. That's exactly what the CTR is intended to do, only collect the same amount of money on existing construction. And if you have any questions later, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you.
Perfect. So as you can see, the certified tax rate is very important in a reappraisal year. And it is something that we don't take lightly in helping the state to provide so that you can make informed decisions. As you also want to know, whenever certified tax rate is provided, it is the mayor and the Metro Council that can decide whether it is necessary to increase that certified tax rate above the revenue neutral rate in order to pay the city's bill and embark upon new projects that it wants to do. Why is it not doing this? Why is it not doing it? Can't go to my next. I can't go to my next screen.
Are you clicking?
Okay, so thank you. So here is just a summary of the 2020 assessment total in reference to the values provided in various categories, total categories in Davidson County from 2020. We will soon have a 2021 summary once the Metro Board has adjourned from the appeals that they are entertaining. So what is it that we know about a reappraisal 2021? First of all, the countywide median appraised percentage, we see that it is calculated at 34.05%. That is the median appraised percentage increase. There's been great growth in new construction. That's where we get our revenue, additional revenue, from 2020, and there was a 4.9% increase, a real property new construction growth. That's phenomenal. When we say median appraisal or appraised percentage increase, we mean just that. So if they're in your district, whatever your median appraisal, I keep saying appraised percentage increase, if yours is whatever it may be, it's just the median. There are going to be those in that same district or in that same county that could be higher than the countywide median percentage increase. They're going to be lower than the median percentage increase. The median appraised percentage includes all classifications of properties. And we don't have to tell you, residential values are strong. I just finished looking at their evening news, and it was talking about housing values nationally has increased. The median purchase of a home cost is $350,000. That's about the same here in Nashville. This came from the National Realtors Association. The commercial sectors like apartments and industrial are doing very, very well. There was a story in the Nashville Business Journal that talked about the number of permits that were taken out last year in 2020, record-breaking 6 to 9 billion in permits. And those permits are permits that we track because we have to go to those properties where these permits have been taken out because they're doing renovation, they're doing additional building, or they're doing just actually building of a property. So we have to visit those properties to ensure that the increase is, well, to pick up the new improvement on the properties. You need to know that when you received your value back in April, you could appeal your value. The informal review was the first level of appeal. That has passed. We're now at the formal appeal level. We always compare the reappraisal years to previous reappraisal years. We look back at 2017 and we just like to remind people that the highest increase in Davidson County's history was in 2017 in values. The highest increase in values in Davidson County history was in 2017 at 37% median appraised percentage increase. That was amazing. That was whopping, to be truthful. And to know that that increase even in 2021, while it's not as much as 37%, it's still trending upward at 34.05%. That median percentage increase means that housing values, properties value have increased that much since the last reappraisal over the 4 years since the last reappraisal. So 34.05% is an increase since the last reappraisal over the last 4 years. And this opportunity that Councilmember Lee has given us, along with other council members and other community leaders and what have you, we believe that it helps the property owner to understand, how did we arrive at values? What did we do in order to provide a value for your home in a mass appraisal approach? And when we look at the previous years, particularly, let's just say in 2017, we're waiting to finalize all the numbers for 2021, even with the highest increase in Davidson County history of the values of properties at 37% median increase, still it was not the highest year for formal appeals, because we felt like people understood it. We got out front, we began to talk about it like we're doing right now, and we continue to answer any questions someone may have in regards to value. So 2017 was the second highest year in formal appeals. This is something that many property owners and of course all over Davidson County love to see, is this heat map. The heat map shows, as a result of the reappraisal of what we've done, it shows where values have trended upward or where values are hot. As you can see in 2017, the center of Davidson County, the center core of Davidson County was pretty hot. All the pink area, the red area, that's where values just continue to trend upward. But look what happened when we go to 2021, just the opposite of what 2017 looked like. The hot of Davidson County is heading north. It's more north and south, excuse me. And I would like to believe that as you get to the edge of these areas that are pink or red or what have you, you can best believe that is bleeding over into the adjoining counties, because people are moving further out to find more bang for their buck. When they were in the center core for the 2017 heat map, as you know, they're not making any more land. So people continue to venture out to more properties, subdividing properties further out and what have you. And I can bet you can best believe that it's bleeding over into the neighboring counties. So there are methods for property owners to exercise their right to an appeal or a review. The first is the informal review. That has passed, but just very briefly going through it, that is an opportunity where property owners can share about their property of information we might not know. The decisions of those informal reviews were provided on June the 10th. They were mailed sooner than our deadline date that we had set for June the 11th, so that we can move into the formal appeals level. But a property owner could also go online, could have gone online on June the 10th and have learned what is the decision of the informal review. Now, while on the, we did say the best method was the online for filing the informal review, where we found that those who were filing online for the informal review, they actually crashed our system in the last hour of the deadline on May 21st. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But if a person disagreed with the informal review, they got the opportunity to appeal to the independent Metro Board of Equalization that began on May the 24th. Mind you, we're now at the end of this appeal cycle, and the deadline to appeal to the independent Metro Board of Equalization is just around the corner, June 25th at 4:00 p.m., not 4:01, 4:02. The dog ate my notice. I can't find it. We're sorry I didn't know it. That's why I'm calling at 4:15. It won't work. That is a deadline to appeal and time to appeal your formal, to appeal your values to the independent Metro Board of Equalization. If you do not, if you fail to appeal to the MBOE, you could lose your rights to appeal for the 2021 tax year. Once the Metro Board of Equalization adjourns, you will get a decision in the mail. And that decision will also give you 45 days to appeal to yet another independent board, which is the State Board of Equalization, if you disagree with the Metro Board of Equalization. When you appeal to the Metro Board of Equalization, please know they set their own timeline of when you can come before them to get a hearing of appeal on your to get a hearing on the appeal of your value. And the failure to appeal to either the Metro Board of Equalization or the State Board of Equalization may result in you losing further your appeals right for the 2021 year. You can appeal every year if you like. Davidson County has been very resilient in reference to the challenges that have been before us. In March 2020, we were faced with a devastating tornado. We continue to be challenged by the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, we woke up, many of us, to hear about the Christmas Day bombing that affected our 2nd Avenue historical properties. And of course, 2021 almost started out to be like 2020 in a sense, with the ice storm in February and the flooding in March. Well, we want you to know that if you're a property owner that was damaged by these type of occurrences, unfortunate occurrences, or if you are a property owner that you may not own the property, and it's just that you're leasing or what have you, but you have personal property that you use in reference to operate your business. Will it be cars or computers and tables, what have you? There are 2 laws on the books that we can utilize in reference to assist you in adjusting your values as a result of these unfortunate occurrences. That's 675-603 and 675-606, Tennessee Code annotated. The 603 authorized the assessor property to assess the value of the damaged residential, commercial, and industrial properties based upon its condition after the occurrence, provided the property is not restored or replaced by September 1. Now, what that means is that if the property is not habitable, if it's not operative by September 1, we have the authority to adjust your value because of that unfortunate occurrence that has occurred. And of course, for the personalty, the items that you use to operate your business, we also have the authority to prorate the assessment of the personal property for the portion of the year prior to the date of destruction or substantial damage. These 2 laws are critical laws that are in our toolbox to assist property owners who are affected by such devastation. So what's next? Well, most of this is not even what's next anymore, but just to go through it, April the 23rd, we provided property owners with their new values, and we also made that new value online at www.padctn.org. On that same day, we also released a heat map so that property owners would get an idea about where values were trending in Davidson County. May 21st, which has passed, was the first level of review, which was the deadline to file an informal review. We are now in the formal appeals segment that started on May 24th, and it will end this Friday at 4 p.m. Once again, Friday, June 25th, 2021 at 4 p.m. To schedule a formal appeal to the independent Metro Board of Equalization. And then, of course, for those commercial property owners, some, if they would like to, they have the choice to do a direct appeal to the independent State Board of Equalization, thereby skipping over an appeal to the independent Metro Board of Equalization. They would need to contact our office first and let us know that is what they want to do, and we will contact the independent State Board of Equalization Board. I told you earlier about the last day of the informal review, how things crashed at that time. And I may have some folks here watching that that possibly was affected by, trying to get this done. Well, in the last hour from 3 to 4, property owners experienced a major glitch in the online filing, and they were not able to file themselves. Even though that was the best way to file, they couldn't do it. what we did in our call center when the property owner called us to let us know, we just took their appeal by hand, you know, just in the manual way. Thereby, the property owner did not lose their right to appeal. And even if a property owner did not get in at that time to file an informal review, they still had the right available to them to appeal, and that was to the independent Metropolitan organization that started that Monday, right after that Friday on May 24th, to schedule an appeal to the independent MBOE. You are given a choice to have your hearing conducted by phone or in person. Councilmember Antoinette Lee, thank you and the residents of District 33 for this opportunity to inform you about the reappraisal 2021 so that you can be aware of how we arrive at our values. And of course, our objective is for you to trust the process and trust the product that we have provided to the constituents in District 33 and all of Davidson County. We stand ready to answer any questions you may have.
There was a question in the chat, I think it was Larry's, that had something to do with percentages assessed on the value of apartments. So Larry, if you could ask that question.
Sure. Looking at apartment complexes, what is the percentage of assessed value? Are they assessed at the residential 25% or the commercial 40%?
Apartment complexes are assessed at commercial assessment 40%.
Okay. Then relative to corporate owned residential neighborhoods where all of the homes in that neighborhood are owned by a single corporation as opposed to individual homeowners, how are those homes assessed currently?
We are looking at that, Larry, and we're really kind of going towards the direction that they will be assessed at commercial. That is something we've been discussing in the office. You know, as the industry changes, the economy change, we are looking at a lot of things. As a matter of fact, we're also looking at corporations that purchase homes for rental purposes. So the Assessors Association across we get together and we look at case law and review them, and then we develop a decision and we enact a decision in reference to how we proceed to assess the property. So at this time, we're looking at it, basically stating we're reviewing case law in order to proceed with the decision. Looks like it's leaning towards commercial assessment for those type of properties.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I cannot, excuse me, I cannot see the chat very well. So I'm going to say right quick, were there any more questions? I think Billy has a question.
Yes. My question's on the new construction.
Mm-hmm.
When does well, let me ask it this way. If a permit is issued on a home on April 1st, and that home is completed on October 1st, it's $400,000. When does it go from new construction to existing construction to be taxed?
I'm going to have my Deputy Chief of Operations answer that question. Randy Ward.
Hello. Okay, yeah, as far as what you're saying is a permit is taken out in April for new construction and is completed in October. We have a prorate roll that runs through September 1st. So because it is, the home is not completed until after September 1st or substantially completed after September 1st, we will not put the roll until January 1st of that following year. So if it had been done by August 15th or August 20th, it would have been prorated for September 1st. But because it is completed after the September 1st, our last prorate date that we can have, it would not go on the roll until January 1st of next year.
Thank you for that.
Question? Now, and I want to say one more thing. If it say that you had taken a permit out in, say you took it out now, and you were building a home and it wasn't completed on January 1st, and we're talking about a brand new home, it wasn't completed on January 1st, we would put a materials value on there on January 1st, and then whenever it's completed in the next year, we would pick it up completed on the program roll at full value. Is that good? Okay.
Thank you so very much.
One of the things that you have to, in reference to that question and time, one of the things you have to keep in mind, we have to have a cutoff. We have to get the assessment roll to the trustee's office so that when the tax rate comes through, they can put those two numbers together to generate a bill. So we have to have a cutoff, which is the reason why these dates are very important. But we, in essence, pick it up for the next roll. So we have to have a cutoff, and that's, that's the reason for that.
Property Assessor Will Hoyt.
Yes,
I
Council Lady Lee.
I would like to thank you so very much for coming and bringing us this very important information.
My pleasure.
Is there an email or something that can be put in the chat or someplace if someone needs to get in contact with you or has another question that they didn't have a chance to answer?
Absolutely, I will put that in the chat. And I'd like to also provide just some additional things to the viewing and listening audience. One of the things that we've incorporated in our office to ensure the safety of the employee and also the safety of the residents that we go and visit to do inspection. We have put in place, as we're still wearing masks, these masks that displays the shield of the metro. So when you see one of our employees on your property, we have these masks that a person would wear in order to be recognized if they're on the property. Also, we had not ever had formal apparel to identify an employee on your property because people were in their regular clothing. And since I've been here, what we've put in place were the type of apparel like this displayed board, and also the apparel that's being displayed by one of our IT guys, Mr. Steve Moore. So that way it's clear, if you're looking out your window, you're able to see there's someone official that's on your property. And that removes the curiosity of who is that person? What are they here for? We are back and open here in Nashville, Davidson County, but there are people who are home that was never at home before. They are people who are working from home who would normally not be there when these folks are on the property. So we are very excited about having these new apparel. We've had it for now about maybe 4 or 5 years. I came on board in 2016. We immediately began to do that, and it got them in place by 2017. So we're very excited about that. So just share that with you. So whenever you see one of these employees without their apparel on, wearing it, their property, and they're walking around and measuring, I want to hear about it.
Yeah,
because they're
problem. Thank you so very much for coming, and with the gentleman with you from your office, thank you so very much.
Yes, the best staff ever. Thank you.
Great. And don't forget to put that in the chat.
I won't. And could everyone take a quick picture if you are? Andy, can you come back on? Anybody that could see their face? We like to take pictures of our community meeting. Come on, Sean Henry, show your face.
I'm here. Good to see you.
Okay,
Great.
ladies
I
and gentlemen.
got it all. Thank you so very much. And
Great.
thank you for fulfilling our album of community meetings.
Great. You all have a blessed evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next portion is going to be about the development on Old Hickory. Mr. Sean Henry is going to present the developer, and they are going to bring forth to you to talk about the changes that they have done after getting comments from the community meetings. We're going to run, we are not going to, as I announced earlier, if anybody came on later, we are not going to run this till 7:30. It was a mistake to say from 6 to 7:30. I usually like to run my meetings to 7 o'clock, but since this ran a little later, we are going to run it until 7:15. I am so sorry. I have another meeting that I have to rush off to, and that meeting is at 7:30, and that's why I'm looking, talking to you from this little hole on my cell phone. I'm doing it with my cell phone. So I am going to ask Mr. Sean Henry to introduce his guests and get right into the subject of bringing to you all the changes that they have in place because of the conversations that we have been having. And Miss Rosie, you may have to help him to share the screen because Ms. Wilhart is still there.
Well, thank you, Council Lady, and I would like to share my screen real quick. We're going to try to be speedy with the updates here.
You should be able to.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So again, I'm Sean Henry. I'm representing Johnson Development Associates. Andy Halligan is my client, point of contact. I'm going to turn it over to him in just a moment. We also have the engineers ready to answer some questions and make some comments as well. One of the things I want to point out, this is the property. There's currently, if you can see my crosshairs, this is, there's 3 parcels here. That's the home of Billy Spalding. Mr. Spalding is on this presentation as well. But these are the 3 parcels where 2 buildings are being proposed. These 2 buildings together are smaller than the 3 buildings, the 2 new buildings across the street, and I have the sizes of those. This is 118,000 square feet. This building is 39,000 square feet that was recently built by Al Nair. As part of their construction, they improved the street frontage out here with new curb and gutter for stormwater management, as well as sidewalk. My client, Johnson Development Associates, will have to do the same thing all the way down this portion of Old Hickory Boulevard. And this property, this warehouse on the corner that's there, been there for quite a while, is 70,000 square feet. So again, the 2 buildings that are proposed to be built here together are smaller than these 3 buildings with the numbers that are on here. Secondly, I just want to point out, I've circled the 2 intersections that serve the neighborhood across Old Hickory Boulevard here, Hobson Pike. And this is the Old Hickory Commons. There seems to be some confusion from some folks thinking that the warehouses that are proposed here, the business distribution buildings, are directly across the street. They're not directly across the street. They are down Old Hickory Boulevard at this location. So that's the only other point I want to make out. And Old Hickory Commons has 2 points, 2 street intersections in which to get in and out of the residential development. And so I just wanted to make that clear. So I'm now ready to turn it over to Andy and let Andy begin the next portion of this show. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If I know how to do that. Stop, share. Okay. Andy, I think you're on mute.
Also, I don't see him, so I think you are still.
Okay, he's connecting to audio now. Andy, you're on mute, sir.
Okay, can
There you
you
go.
hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I'm sorry about that. Council Lady Lee, thanks for having us again. I'm gonna share my screen. Sean, thanks for showing the aerial and showing the site and the exact location that we're talking about. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm Andy Halligan with Johnson Development. We are a national industrial development firm. We have this 12-acre site under contract. Have been working through a number of different issues on the site plan, seeking the site plan specific zoning change that would tie us directly to what you see here. This is an image of one of the two buildings of what we would plan to build. Obviously, this is an overview of the area in Hobson Pike. The site there is shown in red. You can see a lot of the distribution type users in this submarket and in the area. Obviously, these companies employ a lot of people as well and significantly add to the tax base. Let's go to the next slide. Obviously, this is the future land use Nashville Next land use map, showing that this, the site is in the industrial district. And again, as Sean was alluding to, our site, it's right off of Old Hickory Boulevard, kind of the old. We refer to it as the old Hickory Boulevard. It's right across the street and surrounded by similar type uses and similar type buildings. So we think it fits in pretty well. Overall, these building sizes being roughly 73,000 square feet. Let me get back to that. And 107,000 square feet. They're smaller buildings that fit in well with the surrounding area. And kind of nationally speaking, they're obviously everybody has been ordering more and more online. E-commerce sales have boomed, and the big push from a lot of companies is the last touch or final mile, and how those goods are distributed direct to homes. So that is really the idea behind this development, is smaller distribution type buildings that where you would see a mix of box trucks and smaller vans. Obviously, there will be some tractor trailers. We have done a full-blown traffic study. We have our engineer on the line as well to answer any specific questions. But these buildings are pretty small, but the whole push is to get smaller buildings like this where they can hold inventory and distribute direct to homes. And as Vivian Wilhoit alluded to, there's obviously been a lot of population growth and a lot of new consumers in Nashville, so there is a strong demand for these type facilities. So this is just another aerial, kind of looking down the subject property, showing some of the recent buildings that have been built in the area. You can also see the laydown, kind of industrial laydown yards that are immediately across the street.
Let me ask a question, since we don't have a lot of time.
Sure.
I know some people are saying, well, talk to us specifically about things, not stuff that we had laid out before, but about things that you all changed from the different conversations that we had and that emails and different information that was given to you all.
That's
so,
great.
Okay.
I'll jump right to that. So the changes to our site plan, this is our updated site plan. One of the major thing has been truck traffic and coordinating that. We obviously all tractor trailer movements would come out of Old Hickory Boulevard to Hobson Pike, and they would not go back towards Murfreesboro Highway. We also tried to line up these curb cuts and the access points off of Old Hickory Boulevard that would align with our traffic study and expectations there. We've also offered, obviously the complaints have been potential truck traffic. We can talk specific numbers about that as well, but we have offered other solutions that could be helpful, as in potentially funding, pothole maintenance fund specifically for, Old Hickory Boulevard and Hobson Pike, this area that we, that we would utilize the public road infrastructure there. So we're happy to answer any questions specifically about this. And again, we've got our team on the call as well.
Do we have any questions about what is being shown or changes that they have said that they have made or anything? Melissa, did I see you have a question? Oh, I heard somebody with a question. Please go ahead and ask.
This is Larry Price, and my question is that this is on the Metro Davidson Planning Commission agenda for this Thursday, and it has been recommended by the Metro planning staff with conditions. Where are you in following through on those conditions?
So we're planning to accept those conditions, but I want to have our engineer speak up and kind of outline what those conditions are. Most of those are related to the total square footage of the development, which is actually would be very similar to this. This obviously is a concept site plan, and then specifically to the traffic and traffic patterns associated with this. Sam, are you able to hop on here and speak to that?
Hey, Andy. Yeah, I am. Sorry, I'm trying to get that that letter pulled up so I can specifically state those conditions. So give me one second. I'm sorry to hold up, or we can continue and I can sort of jump back on whenever I have that pulled up.
I was going to say, while she is looking for that, it might be helpful if you also, Andy, look in the chat, because there were some questions or comments there about the traffic flow.
Okay, great.
I do have a question, Andy.
Yes, ma'am.
You did say something about a fund to help fix Hobson Pike and Old Hickory. Are you gonna put that in writing? How much money are you talking about? Do you even have the right to do that? Just start patching roads. How does that work?
There's something that we have done actually that I am doing with another development, and it would come as a bill for me, and it would be money that was given specifically for, and they would have to write it in to say specifically what that's for, and then it would be given to Public Works and Hills so that it could go towards that, whatever. And if you have something else in mind, Andy, please let her know. But I thought that was the same type of thing that we're working on over at Maxwell.
Yes, ma'am, that's exactly what we were thinking. We hadn't hashed out any of the particulars, but it seemed like that was something we would be willing to do and kind of help mitigate that issue.
But are we talking about a one-time thing, or, I mean, because how much does it cost to fix the roads?
Since we don't have an impact,
Sorry?
Since we don't have an impact fee in the city, and that's what I had asked the mayor about doing something. One of the things that we were looking at is getting, and it would be a one time. So you would have to have in mind what it is that you want that fund to go to, and then they would have to research to see how much that would be, and then they would give that amount of money, and it would be written in the bill for what it's for. They would give that to Public Works, but it would be for that specific thing. So yes, he would have to figure out exactly what it's going to be for, and then how much that's going to be, and that particular amount would be put in the bill, and that's what it's going to be used for, and it would be a one-time thing. It's kind of something new that
And
we're.
and is that something that you're willing to make sure that happens before it goes into the council?
I think from our,
Andy,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, just from our perspective, I mean, you know, those are public roads, and, you know, obviously we think.
So Melissa, from the way that we were doing it, it would have to be written into the bill. So it would be part of it. The way that they did it before, when we were looking at that Laverne Couch and Maxwell Road, it's written, it's actually a bill taken in. So then that would have to be done. If that was gonna be done, it would have to be done before I signed the bill or before the bill went through, if that's what's gonna be done.
Yeah, that's too bad that we lost him, because I think he was gonna say they were public roads, and I don't know what he was gonna say next, that if they're not willing to put much money, or what was he gonna say? Because we lost him, right? So, I mean, I'm interested.
Still on there?
No, he was saying something and he's gone.
Rosie, did we lose him?
I don't see him.
Yes, he must have to get back on. He's probably rebooting.
Okay,
It's not us.
Right.
so I'm sure
Yeah,
he'll be.
Yeah, because I'm interested to know what he was gonna say. Thanks.
Council Lady Lee, this is Sam Cersey. I'm a civil engineer on the project team. I can sort of fill the space here and answer the conditions questions. There are quite a few, so I'm going to try to briefly go over them. There are conditions related to the fire marshal, to stormwater, to water services, public works, and traffic and parking. I'm going to highlight the public works and the traffic and parking, because I think that's probably most beneficial for the constituents on the call. The public works, the approved with condition final construction plan shall comply with the design regulations established by the Department of Public Works. Final design and improvements may vary based on actual field conditions. And then the traffic and parking relates to Old Hickory Boulevard as you turn east out of, I guess, east towards, Murfreesboro Road, out of the site. We will have to do one of two things. Either restrict truck traffic, that being semi-truck traffic, that direction and they'll have to post signs to limit, or I guess restrict that left turn out of that easternmost drive, or widen from the easternmost drive all the way to Murfreesboro Road to a minimum of 22 feet wide with either curb and gutter or shoulders. And in order to get our restriction, we will have to go in front of the Traffic and Parking Commission. That will come after our preliminary SP Planning Commission meeting. So anyways, I think that those are the conditions. And if anybody else has any questions about those, I'm happy to answer them.
Sam, this is Larry Price. The Old Hickory Boulevard going east of the site, heading toward Murfreesboro Road, there is a relatively narrow bridge on that stretch that was just replaced at taxpayers' expense. I mean, are you looking at actually replacing that bridge with a wider bridge? The way I read the conditions is it was so that it would allow for truck parking on that stretch of Old Hickory Boulevard, which didn't make a lot of sense to me.
When you say, sorry, can you help clarify when you say truck parking?
That's what I read in the Metro Planning staff report as to the conditions for using that stretch of Old Hickory Boulevard. So I can't amplify on what they stated.
Okay, I guess to clarify, I don't think any trucks will be parking along that stretch of Old Hickory Boulevard. As far as the bridge, we are aware of the new bridge. I believe it can withhold the semi truck trailers. So I believe it's wide enough. We would just have to, widen the pavement up to that bridge and then up from the bridge up to Murfreesboro Road. But that is, I think Johnson Development would prefer to restrict the truck traffic and have them turn right out of the development. So I think that is our plan, is to go to the Traffic and Parking Commission and have their consideration to restrict that truck traffic first, and then from there, if they have to widen the rest of Old Hickory Boulevard to Murfreesboro Road, that will be widened to 22 feet with curb and gutter or shoulders.
Who would be responsible for enforcing the no left turn restriction out of the site? Will that be the taxpayer's expense?
It will be the developer will put, they'll be responsible to post signs either right outside of their development and along Old Hickory Boulevard to the west, to the east of that drive. And there'll be a white sign, and those are enforceable by law.
But who enforces it, and at what expense?
I'm not really sure. It's all I
So
can say is that
Yeah, Sam,
okay.
I'm sorry. This is Andy Halligan.
Sorry,
I joined again. I'm sorry I had technical difficulties. Yeah, so from an enforcement, Larry, I mean, obviously that is the Metro Police and law enforcement would be the enforcers. We would not, we would do everything that we need to do as far as the restriction, putting up the signage, making it very abundantly clear that trucks can only take a right and go back out to Hobson Pike. The driveways would obviously be designed in that way as well. But I think that would clearly show how trucks are going to enter and exit the property.
How would the parking lots be designed to help that? I mean, would it make it difficult for an 18-wheeler to even make a left turn by the curbing system on the site?
That can be. That's what I'm talking about as far as the angle at which trucks have to exit. It would be angled in such a way that it would, in the signage would be very clear. But everybody, will a truck inadvertently make a wrong turn? Yes, they probably will. I mean, that's just the nature of people making wrong turns. But but as far as what we're going to do to help curb this issue, we're going to do what we can to abundantly clear that this is the way trucks are going to enter and exit the property.
I understand. I respect that. The issue is that right now our Metro Police are so overburdened that they can't even come to the site of routine motor vehicle accidents if there is not a personal injury involved. So this would be very low on their priorities.
I understand your point. I will make a good, I was getting into this before I got cut out, but I did want to just point out that this, from a stable tax generating, asset like these buildings would be, I mean, they would be paying, upwards of 150 to 200,000 a year in net new property tax revenue, which could potentially help fund a new policeman, or it would just add resources to the city.
Or repave the existing roads that those semis would be traveling on.
That's my question. Sorry, Andy, you were going to answer my question when you got cut off. Do you mind going back to the fund for the potholes? You were going to say something. You were saying something about there's public streets, and I don't know.
Yeah, from a maintenance perspective, I mean, it's not like we have a maintenance crew to go out there and pothole. That is a public road. We would provide the funds, have this funding available to do that work, but we would not be the ones actually doing it. Metro would be the ones, maintaining the road, but we would have dedicated funds to help us with pothole maintenance.
And Ms. Lee did say that it goes into the bill, but I'm just wondering how much money are we talking about? If it's just gonna be like enough money to fix one pothole and that's gonna be it, or what are we talking about? Because then you give it to Public Works, and then Public Works can use it for whatever.
I mean, that's a great question. We haven't arrived at a value. We're open to the concept. That's something we will have to figure that out as we get into this. But we don't have a value. But it would be.
Yeah, well, it's really hard to support without something, like set in paper, that with numbers and, so that's what I have to say.
And before it went into the bill, they would have to plug a number in. Somebody was asking in the chat room about an EPA report for the area, if that's been done.
And an EPA report, I'm not sure I follow what
I'm
that
thinking
is.
that's the air quality. I think what they were talking about is air quality in that area, but it may not be. So whoever submitted that, if you would like to ask that question.
Yeah, we asked if you do an EPA study about the damage to the water and local wildlife and things like that. And last time you said one hadn't been done and you'd look into it. Did you look into it?
Well, we have done an environmental study. I mean, we will do an environmental study. We have not done it yet. We have not. I didn't realize that was an action item on our end. We did not do an air quality study. We have not done that.
Hey, Andy, I can speak to the water quality a little bit at this point. We haven't done the full-on design, so we're still pretty conceptual at this point. But there is a stream located, I believe that's the northern property line, but there is a stream located on the northern property line, and based on drainage areas, there is a required stream buffer. So we are maintaining that stream buffer along that property line, and then as we get into stormwater design, we will have to the post-construction peak flows will have to be lower than the pre-construction peak flows, and we will also have to follow water quality standards required by Metro for the stream water quality. So.
Thanks, Dan.
Council lady, this is Billy.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Larry Price quoted the staff report for the commission meeting this Thursday about restricting truck parking east of the development, and he is absolutely correct. That's the way it reads. It's on page 26 of the staff report. I'm pretty sure that should read to restrict truck traffic east of the development or widen Old Hickory Boulevard. So I think that's a typo or whatever in the staff report, but it is there. It does say parking east of the development, which there's a parking lot east of the development where these trucks are going to be going to unload their stuff. So that word, instead of parking, should be traffic.
Thank you, sir. Excuse me. Well, it is 15 after. I think there were some pieces that we heard that still needed to be come in. I think the traffic, the EPA and the environmental study was being expected to happen, and that had not happened. I am not sure that people heard what they needed to hear about the traffic. I know if a piece of the plan is to give us some money to widen the road, which I think that needs to be done. The train does have to do it. I mean, the turning lane has to be done, but I think that whole area, excuse me, also has to be widened. So I think before, because it'll have to be an amendment, if not written into the bill, it has to be written into the bill, an amount of money we need to have that. May I ask you to put into the chat room, if you can put your emails so that specific questions that were not answered could be put in that, or if I could ask everybody on here, because I know that Rosie was collecting the information from the chats to give to the developer to say these were the concerns and this is what you needed to change, so that there won't be any misunderstanding about what actually was done and what actually needed to be done and what is being asked of you.
CM Lee, can we ask if you support this?
It isn't in a place where I can support it right now. Who is asking me that?
Hi, my name is Kay.
Oh, hey, Kay, I can't see it. I'm on my cell phone. I don't think we are at a place for this to be supported now. I think that we are still talking about it. So I am not in a place where I can support it now. But I do think we need to give them some hard information, and I think something was put in the chat room. So if there is something else,
Councilmember Lee, this is Larry Price. This is on the consent agenda for the Planning Commission this Thursday. If you are not in support of this, then we would respectfully request a deferral.
I agree.
okay, thank you. Thank you for requesting that. I will see what's up. I think I have already sent something to
I
them
agree too.
saying that I did not support this, but yes, we'll see. So I just want to say to you all that I want to remind you that on July the 1st, that meeting is with Councilmember Toombs. Messages, the meeting was with Council Lady Toombs, and she's going to go over some what's in the budget, so that if you have questions, I'm going to ask you specific questions. I'm going to ask you if you can get those to Rosie before that date, and then we can get them to her, and we can make sure that she addresses those particular questions. I'm going to say to you again, I'm so sorry. Like I said, I have another meeting, and that's why I'm on this little phone thing, but I know that we had other meetings today, so I want to thank you all so very much that took time to come out here. I also am going to, I think we've already put it out a couple, I'm going to give you some dates of when there could be meetings. I know that comments were made about we need to know exactly who is going to be on those meetings. Well, I don't know that now, but what I heard before was with the short notice, it's more important for you to know exactly when, so you can put that on the calendar. So we're putting those dates out there now, and we're going to send you the information. We are asking developers to send what's going to be presented so you all can get it beforehand. those that have presented before to you and want to come back, we are also asking them to make sure they've got to lead off with what changes. And I do ask, have you made any changes? And if they haven't made any changes, then there's no need of coming back and meeting. So they are being held that they've got to adhere to those changes. And if they can't remember it, then Rosie is very good at collecting a lot of the comments. We send them to them and say, see, these are the things that were said. So hopefully we'll get things together better. And I want to thank you all again. Thank you so very much for coming out and listening. And again, those people who said, my neighbors said we don't get any email addresses. If you're in District 33, then you need to send your name, your address, and your email information to roseanne.hayes@nashville.gov, and she will put you in a 33 database. Other than that, we do post it on my Facebook page and District 33 Facebook as well. Thank you all so very much. Have a good rest of your afternoon. Thank y'all.